You can heal from really anything that you're experiencing, and it doesn't have to consume your life.
Drop in,
unwind,
and recalibrate
as we shift your mentality and your reality.
Let's elevate alongside one another as we keep the vibes high
and we keep the consciousness ever evolving in this collective of high vibrational frequencies.
Welcome to the High Vibe Collective podcast. We're your hosts,
Aaron
and Stephanie.
Now more than ever is the time to take charge of yourself, your health, your emotions, your overall awareness to increase your quality of life and the others around you. And that's a new skill every year. We see as the world is changing, every year we need a new way to adapt and grow.
Mm-hmm.
High Vibe Collective is a healing retreat center in Sedona and a nationwide movement for taking charge of our health, our wellness, and our spirituality. High Vibe Collective started out as a healing retreat center in Sedona, Arizona, and we work with individuals, couples, and groups to hone in on their spiritual capabilities, their awareness, their ability to process emotions, regulate their nervous system, hold mentalities and mindsets so that they can have forgiveness, compassion, and really open your heart to the realities in the world that are accessible to us as humans, which are often less doom and gloom than it seems the world is really in inside.
But it's so doom and gloom. Yeah, the whole concept behind High Vibe Collective has really been, we're all always looking for ways to better ourselves. And from the inside out is the best way to go about that approach. So conceptually, just being able to drop in to our center and evolve. And so sometimes we need a little bit of help to do that. We can't always do everything on our own, even though our ego might like that. But with the help of skilled practitioners, healers, those who are more educated, those with more experience, to be able to show the way of what it can really look like and feel like to exist in these human bodies in this, doom and gloom atmosphere we're in the present reality in today's day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like to say that the apocalypse is already here and maybe has been for a while. Once we start to realize our true nature of health and radiant well-being, that is really our birthright as humans, and we have gotten a little bit confused. So this is our time to really take back our power and our awareness of who we really are and implement that and encourage others to do it simply by being who we are. So it's a radical unfolding and unlearning and stripping of the layers, like peeling back the onion to get back to that core and then building on top of that.
Yeah, you say that, and I think so many people don't even know who they are. And that's a journey, right? Finding our purpose. So, the High Vibe Collective is really this embodiment of that. These are people who have been working diligently day in and day out to find their purpose and continue to go inward each and every day. And so making an impact on their life to be able to then make an impact for others. Yeah.
Beautiful. So can you share a little bit about who we are specifically? And
You and I,
and how that relates to High Vibe Collective and Sedona and our personal missions, things like that.
Yeah. So Aaron and Stephanie are a conscious couple. We were friends for quite some time and found our way into each other's lives and really enjoyed each other's company. And I think in today's society, we're confused about what that might look like. But so we're in, I would say, a conscious coupling, or I call Aaron my partner, and then I have to say, oh, Aaron's a man, because there's lots of different partnerships out there these days. And so when I say conscious couple, that means for myself and for you that we're in a committed relationship with one another, believing in divine union. And, there's lots of other ways to relate, but I think that the idea of partnership being something where we can be able to be in reflection of one another. And you're my biggest mirror. We look very different, but not when I have a lesson to learn. You mirror back to me exactly what I need to see to really be able to go inward. And so that to me is the work. It's part of the work that I think we are here meant to do. And so being in, a conscious relationship and committed relationship in what I'm calling divine union, which is us really being able to get back to our divine nature within ourselves. And I believe we can access that much more pleasurably and quickly when we're in union with someone.
That's beautiful and very well said and all true for me and for you. And there are, like you said, so many ways to relate in this day and age. It's kind of like anything goes, which is beautiful and empowering for people in a lot of cases. And when you say conscious couple, what does that mean, right? Because there's so many people talking about twin flames or
totally,
divine union in general, and like looking for who's your divine feminine to your divine masculine and all of that. And so when we say conscious couple, we definitely mean conscious in terms of growing together. So, life is constant growth. Literally, that's how everything is. The trees are, our bodies are, cats are, right? Everything's constantly growing, and then eventually dying. But that constant growth is required in an individual's life, regardless. And I think we all see the effects of that and the need for that. So then when you come together in a partnership, then if you can grow together, you can grow individually and you can grow together. And that encouragement for growth and that standard for growth is, in my opinion, the definition of what makes a conscious couple conscious is to actually use their conscious awareness to reflect and grow, as opposed to have unreasonable expectations in partnership without having the full picture available. So
the full picture. And that's a thing. That's the thing in relating. We never really have the full picture of what someone else's experience is, right? We're only seeing just who they're presenting to be in that moment, right?
Yeah, there's so many layers in ourselves. We meet new layers of ourselves through each other and through interactions with each other that can be more complete and more raw than with strangers on the street. And so that's a powerful aspect of being in a conscious partnership of any sort, is being able to use it for shared values and shared growth. So
right.
Beautiful. And I'm sure we'll do full episode on conscious partnership and what that looks like in depth. And
do you want to share what the listeners can expect in this journey with us?
Absolutely. So, our main mission is really to empower people to become more full, authentic versions of themselves. And for everyone, that looks a little bit different, right? We're all have different ladders of life that we're stepping up into because all of our paths are different.
I hope.
Right. Yeah, we're all different, but we're also all very similar. And so we can learn from others' paths for our own. And so High Vibe Collective is really here to bridge the gap between what you didn't know you needed to know and then knowing that. For example, if someone didn't know that you could be in partnership with someone else for shared growth and shared values, then that person might not get to that point in a relationship because they don't have the awareness that they could be choosing that, or that someone else might want to choose that with them. And
I chose that for many years in my life.
Yeah. And so High Vibe Collective is really here to create a strong community of people that are up-leveling themselves in every way. Of course, there's physical up-leveling, there's gaining mental strength, emotional clarity, all of these things. And what better than to learn from each other, because we truly are social beings.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we're going to be bringing on experts in self-development, wellness and healing, and lots of really exciting, innovative ways to really think about health and wellness and how it can apply to each and every one of you in the now moment, generally.
Right. So if you're someone who is looking for answers and someone who's looking for a better way to live life in whatever area of your life, then High Vibe Collective is definitely for you, because we're really having conversations from a very authentic and genuine, down-to-earth space where we can just get down to some nitty-gritty things and some overall concepts. And, we're not looking for fluff or, giving any BS tips. We're really here about the real work and what it takes to have a balanced life with the light and the dark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, balance. Balance is key. Quote from Equanimous. So I want to have you explain a little bit about who you are. And I think it's, interesting to note even just our age gap. So here we are talking about like conscious relationships. And there's a lot that you've even taught me in that. And I think it's important to share.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. So we are at different age ranges. And so I am right now 25 years old. And Stephanie is older. 37 years old. So there's a 12-year age gap. And I find that really interesting because I never thought that was something that would be part of my life, right? But naturally, it is now. And that isn't because of age. It's actually because of everything else. It's because of who we are as people and where we happen to be more developed or less developed in ourselves. And then we come together in a balance point. Mm-hmm. And so seeing other couples with an age gap or couples without an age gap, you can see dynamics that are occurring and where people might have strong suits and where they, get to be more empowered if they choose. And so ultimately the age is really a testament to the experiences people have been through, but it's not a perfect gauge, right? Like a number doesn't mean the quality of one's self-development. Right. And so I will share a little bit about me, and then I'm excited to hear about you.
Oh, wow.
In terms of, who am I and who are you? So who am I? I'm not sure. I'm learning that every day. Obviously, I couldn't really tell you who I am other than my name's Aaron and you're looking at me or listening to me.
Well, what have you been about for the last little bit of time?
Sure. That's exactly what I'm getting into. So what I've been about is really finding a way to live in this world with an optimized nervous system and a peaceful body experience. So having a peaceful body experience is something that I struggled with at a certain time in my life, and I went crazy not feeling at peace in my body. So what that looked like was me being very uncomfortable trying to go to sleep one night. I felt trapped in my body. I literally felt like I was like a carcass, but I wanted to be like a free-flowing bird. And so I ripped the covers off. I went outside and I laid my body on cold brick, and my whole body started changing shape, and I started breathing, and I could feel like this electricity jolting through all of my body. And, it's not every night that you go out and randomly lay naked on bricks outside and breathe a ton, right? And that wasn't something I was accustomed to then. I was just following my intuition. What do I need right now? Because I'm not falling asleep and I feel very uncomfortable. So from that point moving forward, I realized, there's something to affecting our physiology that can make our lives better, that can make my life better and my quality of life go up because I was stressed and tense all the time. So I started pursuing things like yoga and conscious breathing and just gaining further awareness on how I could impact my own state whenever I needed to, right? I wasn't interested in feeling uncomfortable in my body in any situation. Not in bed, not at work, not while I'm hanging out, not while I'm eating food, never. No one really ever wants that, right? But how many of us are actually just uncomfortable all the time?
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
We don't often know what it feels like to be comfortable first and foremost, so.
Right. And so this mission of peaceful body experience this path I've been on is really about empowering and taking charge of the reality that, oh, I can create peace in my body in any circumstance, no matter what stressors are occurring, even extreme stressors that people might say, oh, well, but in this type of case, you can't feel peace. It's like, actually, that's not true. And you really actually can. And beginning to develop that in the body with conscious awareness, intentionally doing so, is the first step to gaining access to that. So my passion right now, or has been so far in life, has been to help others to experience a new level of peace that they never thought possible, because I found it on accident just by following my intuition. And I believe anyone can, but we don't always have the time or desire to do that. Sometimes you can just hear someone else tell you something.
Right, because your day-to-day at that point in your life, what were you doing?
Yeah, I was working at a restaurant, and I was actually riding a bicycle to and from work. I was walking who knows how many steps I was taking each day. I like to joke that at that time, it felt like I was walking across, a football field to get someone ketchup that they may or may not use, and it was a really interesting time to feel that way. But being in that constant go, 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 and a lot of use of my body, I needed tools to shift, because I was out of balance. I was too active without the tools. Once I started learning the tools, I could be even more active, right? And so there's a lot of power in finding the physical tools for your peace. And that's just a physical approach, right? There's mental approaches to shifting things, and that can change our energy levels, the way we think. There's also emotional releasing that can change our energy levels, but I wasn't engaging those yet. It was just physiological, and that really surprised me, that simple physical things can make all of the difference.
It's surprising. It's things we're not innately taught, or maybe not innately raised to believe. So,
right.
Yeah, it's made a big impact. Your ability to have that kind of peace in your body and hold it, regardless of what's been happening or what I maybe create to happen in the chaos of my history. It's been life-changing for me, and so I see that work trickle out to others with those you impact as well. So
that's beautiful. Thanks for saying so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing it.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about your story and what you've been up to and what led you to this place today?
Yes, I can. So I would consider myself a lover of life, really. And I say that because I love anything that's alive, right? The plants, the animals, the people. And so as a young girl, I always wanted to work with animals. And so I majored in zoology, minored in animal science. I was really ready to be working with animals, and I found myself in a pharmaceutical position. And, wonderful company, we all know the name. And I found my day-to-day reality just feeling so overwhelming. And maybe not the football field for the ketchup, but it didn't feel like there was a point. I felt like my purpose had been lost along the way. And so through a roundabout series of events, ended up having really a mental break. You say I was going crazy because I wasn't feeling good, but I checked out of the mental building of my human framework. So I was involuntarily hospitalized for a 6-day period and was put on medications and labeled manic depressive, and underwent a series of years where I just wanted to learn about myself. I wanted to learn about our minds and our bodies and how they're related, and how some small piece of information in the framework of my being could have released or popped off such an experience for me to be witness to, is what I felt, right? So I went down the personal development and healing journey for myself, and started a dog training business along the way, and then started a few more, and found myself really loving working with people, and how we can continue to shift ourselves and create a new reality in the experiences that we're learning through, so that we can, get off of these medications, so that we can understand what it feels like to have strong feet underneath us, and less accidents in our reality, and all of these things where we can manifest a more desirable life for ourselves. So found myself creating a business called My Zestful Life, in business coaching and life coaching for those who really want to dream bigger and are willing to say so that reality can be created by their intentions. So found myself here in Sedona 4 years ago, right about the same time as you, right? And have just been moving through all of that in a personal life journey, and in support of others' healing as much as I can.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what brought us here today with the High Vibe Collective, and what impact is the High Vibe Collective making? What value is it providing to people? So yeah, we did both move here about 4 years ago. Separately, we met here. And we were both called to Sedona in our own ways, like many people are, and for good reason, absolutely. So what inspired you to get into the business of healing, right? Kind of combining the healing craft and the reality of healing with business.
Yeah. I was starting to see how much of an impact was made in my own life. Every turn and every time that I leaned in and asked for help or asked for support, sought out a hand to hold, or someone to talk to, someone to move things through my body. And as I broke through those barriers for myself to understand it was okay to care for myself in those ways, I was seeing a large impact. And in the experiences that I've had with business coaching, seeing a ton of incredible healers here in Sedona, wanting to be able to really pair the people who are coming to Sedona every minute of what feels like every day, because there's lots of people here who don't live here. It's beautiful. Please come. And it's a powerful place. It's a powerful place where I say that Mama Sedona, the energy of Mama Sedona, she wants to give you your lessons that you're wanting to learn. And so we must be very intentional with our intentions. Do we have intentions? What do they look like? And if not, can we bring ourselves to think about them? Because that's where the juiciness is, right? That's where the work really lies. And so High Vibe Collective came about here in Sedona based around connecting people with the right people. I think about myself as a divine connector for whatever it is, and it's in my human design. But being able to help those and support those by putting them in front of the right people. And these are healers who are really doing their work. Sedona will hand you your work on a silver platter. And so that's why I say be very clear with your intentions, because it's a powerful energy here. It's a very ceremonial land that has been used in this way for centuries. And so, she wants to give you your lessons, and she wants to help you learn. And for those who maybe have resistances or fears, then you're shown them to move through them in a really powerful way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. And so if someone's coming to Sedona, why would they choose to work with High Vibe Collective instead of just show up and let things flow?
Flow is great. And oh gosh, Sedona's huge. And there's a healer on every corner. And that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. There's a lot of incredible people here. This community has saved my life more times than I can count. I say that a lot. But just because there's a lot of healers in town doesn't mean that I might recommend all of them. And so to me, it's very important, especially when you're kind of like ripe in this spiritual vulnerability, that you are being connected with the right people, right? These are not just people who are like doing this work for a paycheck. These are people who are really living this healing in their lives, in their relationships, and in their community. And they're willing to be confronted with their work on the silver platter, whether it's the best meal you've ever had or it's a platter full of poop. Sometimes that's real. So these healers have supported us in our journey, and we can share a bit about that as well. Do you want to share?
Yeah, and I'll just finish up on what you're saying. When anyone comes to Sedona for the first time, there's so much awe everywhere, right? The rocks are beautiful. The town's just a little bit different than regular towns. It's, basically in a national park without national park status. And you can live, eat, work, play, do everything underneath the red rocks, which is a different experience from most towns. And so when people come and they find spirituality here and they see that, oh, there's a healing place here, there's a healing place here, there's different places to go. What should I choose? Let me look it up online. Oh, they don't have as many Google reviews. Maybe this other healer's better. It's like, is that healer better because they have more Google reviews? Or is it something else entirely, right? And so who's to say where the best place is to go? It's really a toss-up. And while there are many high-quality places to go, High Vibe Collective is in the mission to kind of cut out the BS and really just simply help you experience that silver platter that Sedona has to offer. So we've already done the curation, high-integrity healers, real results. People are actually experiencing shifts, are actually transforming their life. A year later, coming back and saying, wow, I'm still deeply impacted by this every day. Let's do some more, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what it's about. It's about providing a really high quality healing experience in Sedona and making sure that for new people coming, they're not falling into any traps around or getting an inadequate experience and not know the difference, right?
Absolutely.
So why should anyone care specifically about High Vibe Collective or what we've put together in terms of, what's the difference? Who are we? Where are we coming from intention-wise with High Vibe Collective, and how has High Vibe Collective supported us, and how have these people supported us? Because High Vibe Collective is actually made up of community members, Sedona community members. And, there's many communities in Sedona, but the conscious spiritual growth community here is strong, it's prevalent, it's hard not to bump into if you think you're like-minded in any way. And these people who we've teamed up with are people who have made an impact in our life previously and have also made an impact in our life more recently, through the birth of our son and the death of our son during labor. And we went very quickly from being people curating healing to having others curate healing for us.
Because we were in need.
Absolutely. And it's like, what do you do? How do you process that? How do you have support? What does that look like? I mean, we had no idea what that would look like, or could look like, or should look like. I wasn't raised in a village, and a lot of people aren't these days. So how do we receive support, and how do we process trauma in a way that we're not bypassing it, but we're also not consumed by it entirely? And that's what practitioners of High Vibe Collective and other members of our community have supported us in and shown up for us very powerfully, very strongly, very boldly, more than I've ever seen anywhere in any situation. And it's testament for the strength of these people, of the community and of the collective, to really be able to show up for people in the most difficult, ridiculous times that we all have to go through at some point. And so no matter what it is, you can be held here in a space that actually is healing for you.
Regardless of what you've been through, because we've been through it. Maybe not the exact same thing, but everyone who hears about our son, Araya, says, I can't imagine. And that's because you shouldn't have to. It's unimaginable. And so moving through that kind of reality, preparing to be a parent, and then as a mother giving birth, and then not having your child afterwards, it's a reality shakeup. And so moving through that in partnership, where I think the first question everyone asks afterwards is like, are you guys still together? Right? And so, and that's real. Some people don't know how to move through things together, and that's allowed. But it's been extremely supportive to be able to have all of our emotions, process all of our emotions, be supported, be held, and be able to understand what it really looks like to have a vantage point on the situation so that there can be real healing coming out the other side. Any situation of tragedy is tragic. And so sometimes that looks a lot smaller than we might think, but when it's big, we're here. And these people are very equipped to cure for any of it.
Yeah, and we speak on that with experience, unfortunately and fortunately, to have been able to be supported by so many people at one time, changed everything entirely. And so if you're out there and you're going through something, or you've gone through something, and you don't have over a dozen people at your doorstep ready to support you in some way, then you might be in a somewhat unnatural human situation, because we're not living in tribes anymore. And so
we're in boxes.
We're in boxes apart from each other. That's why they call them apartments, right? And so it's really profound and powerful to have others there in terms of healing in groups, but also just having people with different perspectives and experiences and healing modalities to support you. So, some specific examples of support that we received, receiving body work. Wow. I mean, if you've gone through anything at any point, or are just harboring stress in your body work is going to change the game for you. Right. And
this is not just massage. I think, to be clear, massage is great in places like Massage Envy. There's you can go get a massage anywhere. And when Aaron's talking about body work, he's talking about how pain that's stored in the body can be located and then removed.
Right. Yeah. Keep holding emotions in the body. We do hold emotions in the body. That's where they go if we don't express them fully. And so, people came over to support us by helping us release that held in our bodies, and helped us to actively process and integrate everything that happened.
Sound healings, breath work.
Right. And so when a practitioner who's crafted in their skill can show up for someone with something specific, for a specific intention, a specific result, then it's beautiful. Just like if someone cooks dinner and they use a recipe and they got the right ingredients, and boom, there's the great dinner. It's the same thing. It's okay, come with your problems. The right person shows up with the right thing. Boom, there's your thing. And so it's really is a recipe that helps people. And we've experienced it on a much deeper level than we thought possible. And it stayed true. So that's our gift of High Vibe Collective to anyone who comes to Sedona, because it's all possible. It's all accessible. And anything that you may have thought before might contradict these concepts of that you can heal from really anything that you're experiencing, and it doesn't have to consume your life.
Yeah. And it's important to note too, while the healing energy of Sedona is incredible, some people just don't feel called to come here, and that's fine. Or some of us might be living really busy lives where it's difficult to get away. And in that case, we can support virtually. with our online courses as well as any virtual coaching, because this healing, it is in the present moment. So even the energy work from the practitioners that we work with can be done remotely. And while that might sound woo, it's real. So
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, you can book a session online and be completely across the world. And sometimes you don't even need to be on a Zoom call at the same time as the person. And you can receive healing and experience the benefits. And people do all the time, all around the world. So,
yeah. So I want to hear from you about what you believe that we, all of us here, anyone listening, anyone that's a part of the world, what do you believe that we're capable of, and how do we get there?
my belief of our capabilities has been shifting rapidly over time. I think a better question is, what are we not capable of? And I haven't answered that one either, but it's like is the cup half full or is it half empty? And are we half capable or are we fully capable, but we're not using the full cup, right? So I really do, if I'm going to hold a belief around it, I do believe that we have somewhat unlimited potential to expand our life and our reality over time. And so I by no means would want to limit anyone in their capabilities verbally because it's not necessary, and that's been proved untrue. That limited capability thing is not really how I think anymore. It's more of like, oh, what do I want? Wow, where's the resistance between me and what I want? Let's understand what's actually in my way. Is it a false belief hiding under the surface? I think, oh, I'm not good enough or not skilled enough for that or X, Y, Z. But the reality is just the thought itself was limiting me. I actually was good enough for it. I actually did deserve it as a human. I actually do have the skills for that thing.
And you could even share a little bit about the story of us coming together in that, right? Because there was a moment in time where we were just friends and you weren't on my radar.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that experience was one where I, was interested in Stephanie, and that wasn't necessarily something that I thought would be reciprocated, but that didn't really bother me, right? That wasn't something I was unfamiliar with feeling. But eventually at some point that did shift, but I did not listen to that inner critic and say, don't energetically hit on her because she doesn't like you, right? Instead, I chose to just not hold those beliefs at all and followed my excitement through energetically hinting that I liked her in whatever way, right? And so over time, it just shifted. Now, if I would have kept that belief, that limiting belief that I wasn't capable of obtaining a relationship with her because of X, Y, Z, or I'm not good enough for this thing or that thing, it's like, wow, we're so quick to prove to ourselves something that's not even true to our detriment. It's laughable almost. And so that's why I'm saying, like, hey, don't limit the capability. We don't know what we're capable of. Mm-hmm. We don't know where our limit is. And so don't put a cap on it. Just shoot. Right.
Right. Yeah. So you set your intentions and that's what shifted the energy.
Right. And I wouldn't have been able to set those intentions and keep them if I believed I had a limited capability. I had to let that be unknown and be curious. And so I was able to keep my intentions because I wasn't defeated through the limiting belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing stuff, really. It's so good.
Yeah. So what do you believe that the world or people or anyone listening right now is capable of that might not be obvious?
Of everything that we ever want. I think that we're capable of it all. And, through adversity and through whatever might be limiting us, just like you're saying, And I believe that when we are willing and capable, and you might not even actually need to be like to the fullest capacity, but the willingness creates the capability. And then being able to just, whatever it is, be willing to move through it. You know, some of our limitations here in this body, some of them are karmic, right? Some of them are past life, or in this life, the stories of our generations. So there's a lot that we can move through if we're willing. But I believe that we're capable of our wildest dreams. And we just have to be willing to go there, you know, using our imagination. I think about this often around just playfulness, right? We just got a kitten, baby kitty. Mm-hmm. So he is named. And the playfulness that's invited in is it's palpable. And in that place, that's a creation energy, right? And so, yeah, the more that we're willing to look at life, not like it's so serious, right? Because even our situation and what we've moved through, you know, I mean, we're new parents without a child. And so that's very visceral. That's very palpable. And in that place, it's so easy to stay there. And when the sun's not shining, right, then the whole reality shifts. But if we can really tap into this inner knowing, that there's more always waiting for us, then that's what we're going to receive. We're going to be able to keep going, and we're going to be able to receive the support and be able to have what it is we really want on the other end of that.
Yeah. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what specifically can people expect to hear moving forward on the podcast?
Exciting stuff. We're really here to show you guys exactly what it is you can do to shift any part of your reality. If you're struggling with anxiety, if you have insomnia, any of the physical ailments that might be presenting, stiff neck, no mobility of the hips. I mean, anything like that, we're going to have your back with experts and techniques to really help you from a perspective you might never have heard of, be able to bring your awareness to certain ways in which we're either holding our body, using our body, or moving our body, or not moving our body, that we can really create a lasting impact on our health and well-being. And when I say in this now moment, most of the things that we utilize or move through, it's pretty instant, right? These insights, the knowledge, it brings a change to the body somewhat immediately, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even more serious things that someone might be experiencing, it could be surprising what's possible. And miracles are possible. There's
every day.
Most of the limitation that we think is in this world is beginning in our minds and then ending in our inaction or lack of openness for the reality of it. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I'll tell you,
the horse is thirsty.
We're horses, and we are at the Great Lakes. We are horses at the Great Lakes. We're horses on the beach. And we don't know to drink. And so that's really what this is uncovering the reality that, okay, we are horses and that is water and we can drink it. And I know that sounds crazy, but something so simple like that is a pretty good reference point for what's going on right now.
Right. There's right to talk on that. There's so many people who don't understand why they're having the issues that are popping up for them in their bodies, right? They don't understand why this or why that, or how to create differently, how to have differently, how to feel differently. And I can relate with that because of my story and because of my history. And I can tell you very viscerally that it is possible. It's very possible to have the reality you desire instead of the reality you might be in.
Absolutely. And it's constant growth. So While we can say, hey, anything's possible, we're on our own journeys, actively learning how to continuously expand our own awareness and level up in any way that we want. The journey doesn't necessarily stop. You just reach new heights, and those heights get less scary as you go up. They get more rewarding and easier. And that snowball of healing is real. The most difficult part of healing might be getting yourself to believe or have the mentality that it's even possible, right? So if someone has anything somewhat serious going on, they might think, oh, well, my backache might be able to go away, but this larger problem that I've had for a long time is an impossibility, And so you don't have to stop there and say, oh, the backache can go away, but not this big thing. You can say, if this big thing could go away, what would I have to believe for it to go away? And then what would I have to do? And so it's really uncovering and taking the layers off the onion to get to the middle.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many different ways to do that, right? Even for example, the practitioners that you might work with us here in Sedona, there's probably a minimum of 30 different modalities that are being used?
Absolutely. There's so many things.
Yeah. So we're not talking about just one way we can approach this, because everyone's going to have their own flavor, and we're all going to have our own preferences, right? Maybe you're going to resonate a little bit more with what Aaron says because you're a little bit more logical, and that's good. Mm-hmm. I'm more emotional. I'll just say it. I am. And so there's a lot more that I can bring to the table in that regard. And yeah, the different modalities that we're going to be bringing to you, and the different ways in which you can be shifting your reality to create a new existence for yourself, that's going to be limitless. So I would stick around if you're interested.
Absolutely. And it's really great to keep in mind that if you change your trajectory by just an inch, by the time you're 60 miles down the way, you will be in a completely different place. And so it doesn't take much to start. The snowball doesn't have to be very big to be effective. Sometimes one little shift, physical, mental, or emotional, can completely change you in 1 day's time, in 1 week's time, or 1 year. And it's really not about going further into overwhelm or further into anxiety or confusion or chaos. It's really just about finding that peace of mind, that what it is that you are not enjoying now and what you might want later, that you are already feeling that and clear on that, means you're about to get there, and you're in the process of uncovering and shedding things, and then you'll be there, and then it will be normal to you, and then it'll happen again at a bigger layer, bigger level.
Yeah. So progress is not linked to perfection in this way. So just having the feeling inside of you of excitement for a shift is the first step. And so there is no need to get discouraged or feel overwhelmed about how many ways in which our lives need to change. We really get to just drop in and take it one moment at a time. And really that's all we're in anyways, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
The present moment.
The present moment. Yeah. And the external reality is so much based on our internal reality. So when we're looking at, well, I have all these problems in my life, I need to solve this one, then this one, then this one. No, don't do that yet. Solve yourself, solve the puzzle of yourself, right? Gain a better inner understanding, master your body, master your thoughts, master your emotions to whatever degree you need, so that those other problems will either naturally fall away or you'll be equipped to actually deal with them. Mm-hmm. But if you approach chaos from chaos, you're going to get more chaos. But if you shift your own internal chaos to a state of peace and coherence and clarity, then all of a sudden, things outside that were chaotic either become neutralized, or you can neutralize them yourself because you're already neutral. So we don't need to necessarily grab and reach and do things to change the outside world. We're talking about changing ourselves.
It's profound. Yeah, it's very profound. Yeah. And if it's outside of your understanding for now, then just stick around.
Exactly. So what you have to look forward to is, really authentic real, raw conversations with different types of healers, different experts in healing fields, and episodes with us talking about all of these concepts so that we can live the best life we can with authenticity.
And we'll have some thought-provoking leaders coming on to really help show the way, pave the way in those methodologies.
Exactly. So we look forward to being in community with you, and make sure you tap into the network. You can head to our website, sedonahighvibes.com. Check us out there, put in your email, sign up for the newsletter, and stay in the loop. There are going to be a lot of opportunities, of course, in Sedona for healing retreats, community events, group healing retreats, very, very powerful, as well as working with us online and being in community in a space where you can learn, you can be around like-minded people. And let's face it, we don't necessarily want to explore these parts of ourselves around people who don't understand. That's so important, right? We don't necessarily want to learn something, have epiphanies, and then be receiving negative comments or remarks about it from people we love or friends that aren't open-minded. And so really tapping into this community now is so important so that you can be encouraged and encourage others that are like you in the same situations, and really tune out the negativity, because we're about empowerment and supporting each other, not blaming each other or saying, oh, you have all these problems, you can't do anything about it. It's the opposite. It's like, yeah, we all have things that we're learning.
Come join the club.
Let's do it together. So
yeah. So you can find us in our membership group as well, in our membership community. And for those who might be really looking for some more just one-on-one support sooner than later and you can't get out here, we do have options, like you're saying, as well as our full embodiment coaching program, where your hand is held the whole way, whatever it is you're moving through, life or business. And the balance that lies in that, whether it's a full-time career or your own entrepreneurship, there's balance needed for us to be in optimum health and optimum relating with our loved ones. That's the dream, right? That we're all just in a place of love and understanding and everything's taken care of and good and warm and cozy, and yeah.
Wonderful. So stay tapped in, and also find local like-minded people around you physically. If you're not in Sedona, first and foremost, no matter what, if you're not surrounded by people who support you in the ways that we've talked about on this episode, that's might be more important than anything else, at least alongside it. We are absolutely social beings, and we do need to be socially approved and accepted by the people around us. And if people don't understand us, that can wreak a lot of havoc and change our quality of life. So get around people that understand you and love what you have to say, want to hear what you have to say, want to spend time with you, and that have a shared vision and shared values.
Perfect. See you guys next time.
We'll see you on the next one.